Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Rizvi. A lot of us kick off the year by planning our annual budget. If you're looking for a spreadsheet tool or app to take care of your personal finances, this episode is for you. Over the years, I have developed a spreadsheet for my personal finances and household budget, which I felt very simple yet incredibly effective. My friends loved it when I shared it with them. I'm excited to share it with all of you now, and hopefully that will make your budgeting easier. Stick around till the end. This spreadsheet might just be the tool you need for a stress free financial plan. Let's dive in. If you click the link in the description below, it should bring you to a spreadsheet which will look like this. I would recommend go to File, make a copy to your own Google Drive. I would run it should look like this, and with that icon I would recommend running it through Google Sheets instead of Microsoft Excel, uh, because that way you don't have to save. It will be automatically synced whenever you are on the go from your iPhone, iPad, or another computer. um, yeah, so let's look at the spreadsheet how it looks like. It will have mainly three tabs at the bottom. If you see main, I put debt separately because if there is few columns or number of columns, you don't want to mess up and make your main spreadsheet too big unnecessarily. You can keep it separate, and at the end there's a chart. As you input more data, it should show you. We're gonna see all of them. The I think this spreadsheet is better in a way because it gives you a daily look, monthly look, and also for the whole year. I have updated it for 2025, so it's good to go for this year. When the next year comes, you can either do it by yourself, or I'll try to update another spreadsheet, just changing the days and dates. Uh, yeah, let's look at it here. This is a template, so you can go ahead and customize your way as you go. You can add any number of rows and any number of columns. So I guess hopefully you don't have to add any more rows. I usually make a copy for previous year and go for the next year. And columns, you can hide it. If you don't use anything, you can delete it. If you add new columns, I would say just check the functions one more time if they're still working on. Let's input some values hypothetically, to show how the spreadsheet works. We're going to input some income, expenditure, and savings and go from there. I would use the filter function. Let's filter by first day of every month. So you see it got January 1, February 1, all the way December 1. We can have income 1 and income 2. Let's say spouse 1. First day of the month brings $3,000. I'm gonna copy it. Let's say spouse 2 or income number 2, they don't have monthly distribution, they can have bi-weekly distribution. In that case, I'm gonna filter by Fridays. And yeah, so as for Friday, I give 1500, and then every other Friday I'm gonna do the distribution. So you see that this is the take-home money. The annual rows already showing the money is coming in. This is, I recommend putting after 401k, after pension plan, after health insurance, all those things what you're bringing in home, even after tax. And then if in any month, if there is bonus or something extra, you can add it to column F. Let's input the expenditure, starting with house. I categorized mainly house, necessities, transportation or car, pets or kids, lifestyle. You can alter that as you go. It's because one shoe doesn't fit for all. It's something needs to be customized according to your way. Um, so let's say mortgage 1800 or rent. Then you can put the utilities. For example, I'm just putting some values here: 80, 50. Necessities, I put some items together. Let's say grocery, eating out, household supplies, clothing, personal care, because I felt like there will be too many small transactions if you want to take those data every day and input there. Rather, you can just apply set budget for those categories, put it aside to a credit card or another debit card, and then every month you place that much money over there and use that. That way you just inputting once, and if there is any shortage or extra, you can adjust that way. um, let's say 1000. Again, I know none of a lot of these values might not make sense. It's just a hypothetical distribution. So car, yeah, I put car there, some values here. School, maybe 800. Lifestyle, yeah. Medical, maybe 100. Yeah, so let's copy this over. And then the debt column, I would say don't input anything here. This is bringing in from the other row. You can have student loan, furniture loan, or retail card, credit card, anything. I would say do the same way here. If you pay on the first day of the month, you can do that way. If you have the, if you set it up by 15th, do it 15th. If I have the option, I would do it 28th, because by that time all the paychecks come in, and 28th is the February is the last day of the month. Yeah, so that's 150. So you might have some credit cards. The color coding, so I keep it purple, and then if something is auto deducted and I know that's the exact amount, I usually do red and italic, so that way I know I don't have to log in and pay by myself. And a lot of the portals these days can be set up that way. And if something is already taken from my account, we are past that day, I usually put it reset, and that way it's black, and you know it already happened as in the past. You don't have to worry about. Um, yeah, so that's something with you can do with color coding. We come back, exit view. After you're done inputting the debt tab, come back to the main tab, and you should see, if you exit the view of the filter, you should see this column AK for date. Those specific dates you have the input, the value is here, and that's causing the balance to go down. So yeah, you will see those values automatically come in. I set it up that way. And at on the top you obviously can see the total that you are paying, minimum you are paying. Yeah, the concept is you do the income and then expenditure, you pay the minimum debt. Okay, let's add some donation column. And then at the end of the day, you see that you have January 1 7,500 income, 4610 expenditure, and you have 2890 savings. Out of that savings, you can put some emergency fund if you want, and then you can have extra debt payment. Here you see that it's adding up 1000 plus 500 1500, and what is it doing, this minus that. Yeah, so still you have remaining that much to allocate. You're gonna come back to apply it on the budget or adjust your emergency fund, extra debt payment or investment, or anything you want to do. You can create a sinking fund. As I said, you can create as many columns as you want and adjust. It should work that way. Always keep checking the column C if the bank balance is being adjusted accordingly, because the job of column C is to show you on a specific date how much money is there on your checking account, so you can predict better. Here, yeah, look, this is a good example. Because I did all the distribution on day 1 of January, but your paycheck didn't happen on day 1. One of them happened on the 1st, and the bi-weekly paycheck came. One is Friday, another second Friday, and last one is January 31st. So because of that distribution, your negative balance becomes positive that way. So with this spreadsheet, you can actually guess on what day you should have how much balance on a checking. Based on that, when should you pull the money for your investment or savings or extra debt payment or any other expenditure category. I have used a lot of other softwares, tools, or apps. Let's say everydollar.com, you need a budget.com, and a long time ago, Mint. None of them actually gave me that type of distribution daily and monthly and yearly. They all can try to pull the data from your bank account automatically, which has again another problem. Sometimes they will not be able to categorize what category it happened, and sometimes most of the time there will be delay, because bank itself will have a delay of 2-3 days to post. Most of the time it will be pending on day 1 and day 2, and then it got posted, then the apps can get it. Um, and even after you get it, it's going to always give you a lump sum what's coming into a month, going out. But here my spreadsheet is going to do two things. One is going to give you the inflow, outflow, and extra, that difference. Also the daily distribution. I think that's why none of the other software helped me, and I had to come to the spreadsheet and develop by myself. And again, this spreadsheet or this type of spread tool, one shoe will not fit for all. It's just so customized. So much customization is required for person to person, family to family, and year to year. It's a different type of need, I would say. For the time being, I'm gonna take out those savings data input. Yeah, I have a filter here called summary, where you can see all of the months. Now that we have some inputs here, we'll be able to see these charts are populating automatically. Uh, why do we see there is more income in January and see 2890 2890 in August? That means whoever has bi-weekly paycheck setup, you're gonna have 3 paychecks in those 2 months. One is January, one is August. This is the beauty of this type of spreadsheet, that you can exactly see that when you can put that extra paycheck aside, because that doesn't need to come to your budget. Your budget is typically based off of 2 paychecks. Yeah, this, I know most of you already know this, but here you can clearly see. Also, let's open up the summary here. So now we see that annual 75k income, almost 55k expenditure, you have 19,000 savings, and from day 1 of January, that bank balance is flowing from this month to that month. So function is written such a way that it takes from the previous day, and at the end you see 1900 680, which is exactly same as this value if you don't do any distribution here. But if you do distributions here, I think your this cell should show those, and that's how you check it if your spreadsheet is working or not. It's important to keep it checking. If you create some additional columns, delete some columns, do your way, just make a copy maybe and check if your money is flowing from January 1 to December 31st, and any type of income, expenditure, and savings, it matches the numbers here. And then you can proceed aggressively with a lot of data input, using filter, using manual input, using spot input. uh, yeah, this is the way I would input this spreadsheet on the main tab, debt tab, and check the values in chart. If necessary, adjust and come back. Another way of looking at budget, I would say I would encourage everyone to think it monthly. Try to start it from day one of the month, and at the end of the month, try to wrap it up on a like $0 based budget. What it means is at the end of the month, whatever money you have extra, just move it away for your emergency fund, savings, or extra debt payment, so that your February can again restart from zero. I would not. I think this is not a good way of budgeting when you let them move vertically from one month to another month. If you have some payments on January, you take it from February advance, or vice versa. That's when it start to get complex, and you need more brain power to solve those problems. But look at my spreadsheet, where what it does in January, you see that there at the end of the month you have 2890. So that 2890, if you put it aside, it becomes zero on your checking or balance. Then your February again starts from zero. I see negative because I just did some distribution on day one, but I'm sure you're not gonna pay everything on day one. You want to distribute it such a way so that it's related to your paycheck and how things are coming. And if you can adjust, as I said, if you try to set up the deadlines or anything as late as possible, because you want all of your income to come in and then pay them off. And if sometimes income happens early, you can pay them off and get it done early. So that's up to you. Yeah, so that's another tip I would give: to take the money away, make it zero. That's gonna keep your equation easy. Let me show you what's your job with this spreadsheet once you set it up. Obviously, you're gonna set it up at the beginning of the year or whenever you start your financial planning according to this spreadsheet. Um, if you can see it weekly once, that's great, and I think good enough. Whenever you want to see it, just I would say, let's say today is January 5th, so I would just click here, probably make a box temporarily, so I'm working on that day, so I know everything before that already happened, or if I miss something or some payment, I have to pay it. um, and then that 190 shows if all the income happened and all the expenditure happened on January 1 as planned, or you see January 3rd as planned. By today, you should have 190 on your checking account. And if you check on your checking account, if you see 192 or 195, I would suggest put it on the miscellaneous to match it. You have some maybe additional $3. It can be additional $50. You don't know, or if you're dealing with large amount, you don't know where did your $200 go. Just temporarily put 200 there to match if you cannot find it out. But later, when you again see it next week or at the end of the month, you can again adjust that number and still stay in tune with your checking account. Another tips would be, because this is a Google spreadsheet, you can share it with family members, and they can also input the values. They can also comment or put notes. See, I put some notes here. Any expenditure is happening, and you think that you're not gonna remember what expenditure it was, you just can put a note, and later you can see what it was. uh, what else? Yeah, so this box actually should move. So next time I'm gonna see it, I'm gonna take it off. I will, let's say I'll see it on 17th January, so I'm gonna just do that, and I'm current as of that block. So this is one time setup, but also not too, like, you cannot just forget about it. You have to be in touch and keep it updated. uh, but trust me, if you can do that way, you're gonna get much better result than other tools or software. They're trying to predict your financial behavior or budget. You can have much more control, and you can spend actually more stress free. I'm happy that I was able to share my spreadsheet with you, which I have been working for many years and fine tuning it every year. It helped me a lot along my journey. Hopefully, it will help you too. Let me know in the comments below if you have any idea to improve it even more, or if you find any flaws on the spreadsheet, any function. If it's not working for you, I'll try to answer it or solve it. I like to create spreadsheets. I like to fine tune them based on my needs and customize them. I wish to share them with you all. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Hopefully, I can bring those other spreadsheets to you and explain some other day. Stay tuned. Thank you. Bye.